Yo, welcome to Middle School YouTube. Today, we're going to take a look at the Orlando Regional Day 2 conversion rates of the top decks. And unfortunately, we do not have the complete Day 1 meta. We only have a little bit of the Day 1 meta. But I still like to look at this personally because it gives me an idea of what the most successful decks are. I am the type of player where I want to worry about Day 2 a little more than Day 1. So I'm curious which decks are actually making it into Day 2. Now, what can you get out of this as well would be which decks are actually seeing the success in Day 1. Now, there are some variants in here where it's going to be player skill. If better players bring different decks, it is going to make a bit of a difference in there, but some decks are seeing more success in Day 1 than others. And so I think there's a lot that we can get out of this. So here's our meta. This is from the official stream. Unfortunately, RK9 did not share the entire Day 1 meta, but we do have the Day 2, and that's what matters. So we're 1,485 players here. 21 played other decks, and the rest were into these 6 categories. Now, unfortunately, Lost Zone boxes include Rayquaza and Kyogre and Sablezard. I don't know if anyone brought Sablezard, but someone, 1,400 players. Someone brought Sablezard. Turbo Lost box, you know, the Raikou, the Turn 1 Mirage Gate, Dragonite, that kind of stuff. That's in there too. So the numbers are impossible to really differentiate for that one. But of course, Lugia was top. Lugia did go down, just like I said in my Orlando meta prediction. I was expecting about 25%, is 26% close enough. And then Lost Zone, and then Mew at 12, Gujar at 8, Reggie's at 7, and Arcdura at 4. So a pretty massive drop off in there. The average deck had a 10.3 conversion rate, which is normal. There's about 10% of players make Day 2, 153 out of the 1,485 who actually sleeved up their deck. So we're going to go in order of the highest Day 2 conversion rate from Day 1 into Day 2. Most successful was, yeah, that's right, Arceus Duraludon. Unfortunately, Arceus Duraludon kind of sucked in Day 2, but in terms of making it to Day 2, this is not the first regional where Arcdura has been the best at converting, or one of the best at converting. And I think if your goal is to make Day 2 and then you don't care how you do in Day 2 for Knoxville or Vancouver, Arcdura might be the move. It has a ton of Day 1 success. It has enough good matchups. No one's going to tech for it because it's still, look at it. It's not only the last deck on this graphic, it's number 6, but it is pretty far below the other decks. No one's really teching for Arcdura. It has a very high success rate in terms of like the general everything. I think it is the best deck in terms of my goals to make Day 2, and then I'm fine bombing Day 2. Arcdura is the move. Now, if your goal is to do better in Day 2, go look at the results Arcdura has been having in Day 2s. And there's really only a couple players who are successful with it, and the rest of them are near the bottom tables for all of Day 2, because then you're hitting the people who know how to beat Arcdura or are teched for it, or etc. The next one down is Lugia. Lugia is pretty close to that same conversion rate. Lugia is the BDIF, but a lot of people want to throw out, okay, Lugia is successful because it's the most played deck. Lugia is successful because it's the best deck in the format. It has an above average conversion rate, the second best, 53 in Day 2. That is 13.69. Nice conversion for Lugia. It is so good. I did a video the other day about the Day 2 lists. Almost all of the lists are identical. There are very, very small differences between the Day 2 Lugia lists. If you're going to play Lugia, I check out that video to get an idea of what the successful players are playing in it. If you're going to try and beat Lugia, definitely check out that video to know what to beat. I think it is more important for people who want to beat Lugia than who want to play Lugia, but everyone should probably go back and watch it. It's pretty quick, right? Watch on 1.5 times speed. I don't care. Number 3 is Reggie's. Reggie's was also a bit above average, 14 out of 109, and made it into Day 2. I'm a fan of Reggie's currently. Path is good. Marnie's good. Reggie's kind of the best Marnie Path deck. As a single prizer, you can brick for a couple turns and be fine. So again, above average from the Reggie's. Reggie's are a deck that kind of come and go, and this Orlando is probably not the best Reggie play, and it still saw above average success. Reggie's is better than a lot of decks in terms of choice. Reggie's also sees more success. I mentioned Arcdura kind of sucks in Day 2. Reggie's does okay in Day 2. Next one down is not Gujar. Why would I say that? Lost Zone Gujar. Always check your work, kids. Lost Zone Gujar at 11.38, a little above average, but the goo was people teched for the goo. People were ready for it, whether you had stuff like double escape rope or echoing horn or Crobominable V or whatever. So the goo guy, Orlando is not the tournament for the goo guy. Still a little bit above average, but a little more struggle than before. Next one down is Mew VMAX at a below average about. I'd call it pretty average. Little above average, but not really. Essentially average. Mew had a bit of a struggle. The DTE version by far the most popular. But we don't get to differentiate because we cannot see the day one meta. So Mew VMAX, pretty average. Mew is definitely a good deck, but it's kind of that borderline. If you tell me you're going to play Mew, you should be a good Mew player. If you are very confident with Mew, I think Mew is actually a very fine play, but you should have every decision, every game ready to go, know what you're doing with the deck. If that's not you, there's probably a better play for you. Mew has been struggling, but there's always some at the top tables of day two as well. And I think there's a difference between the players who are really prepared, they know their list, they know their matchups, they have a good list for the expected meta. Other is next. You notice we're missing a very important deck, but we'll get there. Other. What is Other? Other's actually some very popular decks. Yveltal Control, which was played by one of the best testing groups, involves an Other. And so that's one of the reasons why they had a high day two conversion rate. You had people like Azul and Isaiah Williams playing that. Arc Pile, Arceus plus whatever. There was some flying Pikachu. There was, of course, like Janky Box. There was a Arc Vulpix flying Pikachu. You know, that kind of stuff. The non-Arc Duralists as well were the more successful ones. There was an Eternatus that technically counts for the other decks as well. So well below average. If you're going to play a deck that isn't one of these six from that original graphic, you're going to have a struggle. You better be very, very, very confident or be willing to accept that you may not do very well. And that's fine too. So if you want to do well and you want to play one of the other decks, you got to be a little something special. You got to be ready for it. Like, you have to have the spice to play one of these other six decks. And somehow doing worse than Other is Lost Zone box decks. This includes Rayquaza, Kyogre, the Turbo Mirage Gate, the Sable Guard, etc. Now, there's two conclusions we can draw from this. Number one, the deck is overrated, or number two, the people playing it were not confident enough with the deck or competent enough with the deck. It could be any of those. Under the not good enough, it could be the variance of the deck. The deck rewards good play, but the deck can also just body you sometimes. So would I be concerned about this? No. But if you are a Lost Zone diehard, I would really look at this one as something of like, hey, maybe consider something else, because this is miserably bad day two conversion rate and there's something there. Either your play with the deck isn't quite there or the deck's just not that good yet. So let me know in the comment section below what you think of this data, and remember to like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.